You see, the problem today is not that people don't know how to act as if nothing bothers them. The problem is that deep inside they're crushed. They're broken. They smile with their lips, but there's a war going on behind their eyes. And they think if they fake it long enough they'll make it. But that's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm not talking about pretending. I'm talking about walking in a strength that's not your own. A calm that doesn't come from ignorance but from discipline. A peace that doesn't come from avoidance but from courage. You must learn day by day to quiet your heart, to stop letting every wind that blows shake your soul. You are not a leaf driven by emotion, by criticism, by praise. No, stand like a tree. Roots deep in truth. Stop letting the noise of people determine your silence or your shout. The more you are moved by every insult, every inconvenience, every glance, the more you become a slave to the opinions of others. And hear me, slavery to human opinion is one of the most subtle and cruel masters you will ever serve. If you want to act as if nothing bothers you, then start training your mind. You have to practice stillness. When someone offends you, stop, ask yourself, is my identity so fragile that their words can dismantle me? When life goes sideways, ask, is my purpose so shallow that it can be stolen by a bad day? You were not made to be fragile. You were made to endure, to overcome, learn to suffer well. You don't grow by having a perfect life. You grow when you face hardship and respond with restraint. When your feelings scream, but your actions remain steady. You grow when your ego wants to react, but your wisdom chooses silence. That's strength. That's what it means to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you don't feel it, but because you have learned to master what you feel. Train in secret. Practice peace when no one's watching. Refuse to be the person who only has self-control when it's convenient. That kind of strength doesn't last. Real strength is forged in hidden places, in quiet decisions, in daily refusals to be owned by circumstance. You want to be unshaken? Stop looking at others. Stop blaming the world. Stop making excuses. Get serious. Get disciplined. Teach your soul to be quiet. Refuse to let every small thing provoke you. You're not a puppet. You're not a victim. You are responsible. Stop waiting for the world to change so you can have peace. You have to choose it now. Choose to walk through the storm without flinching. Choose to hold your ground when everything in you wants to run. Don't you dare think this is about arrogance. This isn't pride. This is control. And control is not coldness. It is wisdom. Learn to act as if nothing bothers you, not because you don't care, but because you care enough to rise above. If it costs you your peace to respond, it's too expensive. Let it go. Walk away. Stand firm. And do not be moved. True strength is not about the absence of emotion. It is about mastering those emotions and not allowing them to dictate your actions. We live in a world where everything seems to move at a rapid pace. Emotions are stirred up. Life's challenges keep coming. And external influences constantly shape how we feel. It's easy to think that the person who remains calm and unshaken has somehow transcended feelings, that they don't feel frustration, anger, or hurt. But that's not what real strength looks like. Strength is not about pretending you feel nothing. It's about understanding that emotions are natural and acknowledging them without letting them control you. It's easy to react to circumstances, especially when things are tough. When someone insults you, when life throws unexpected challenges at you, when your plans fall apart, it feels natural to let your emotions take over and drive your response. It can be tempting to lash out, to complain, or to sulk. But if you want to truly grow and develop the strength to handle the chaos of life, you must learn not to be ruled by your emotions. Emotions are powerful, but they are fleeting. They are reactions to external stimuli, and if you give them control, you allow the world around you to determine your inner peace. The difference between someone who is emotionally strong and someone who is emotionally weak lies in how they handle their feelings. The weak person reacts impulsively, allowing their feelings to take the lead, while the strong person recognizes their feelings, acknowledges their presence, but chooses to act according to principle and wisdom rather than immediate emotion. When emotions overwhelm you, it's a sign that you're allowing the circumstances to dictate who you are in that moment. But true strength lies in your ability to control how you respond, regardless of the situation. This doesn't mean repressing or ignoring your feelings. It means not letting them control your actions. When you're able to sit with your emotions without acting on them immediately, you gain clarity. You allow space for reflection, which gives you the opportunity to make better decisions. For example, when someone insults you, your immediate response might be anger. But if you can pause for a moment, breathe, and reflect on the situation, you realize that the insult is not a reflection of your worth, but perhaps a reflection of the other person's insecurity or frustration. In that pause, you gain control over your emotions, and that allows you to respond with wisdom, grace, or silence, rather than reacting out of defensiveness. When emotions are in control, we are subject to them. We cannot predict how we'll behave, and we can quickly be led into decisions we later regret. That's the danger of letting emotions dictate our actions. They might seem intense in the moment, but emotions are temporary and not always rooted in truth. For example, anger might seem justified in the moment, but it clouds your judgment and can lead to actions that damage relationships or opportunities. Choosing not to act impulsively based on emotion doesn't mean you're suppressing your feelings. It means you're exercising the discipline to respond from a place of understanding, not reaction. This discipline comes from a deeper place, a place where you recognize that you are not the sum of your emotions. You are not your anger, sadness, or frustration. These feelings are experiences that come and go, but they do not define who you are. The more you practice separating yourself from your emotions, the more control you gain over how you show up in the world. You start responding from your highest self, not your lowest impulses. This is the kind of strength that builds character. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. On the contrary, it means being present with your feelings while understanding that you are not defined by them. It means you recognize that, while emotions are powerful, they are not permanent. They are like the weather. Sometimes they are stormy, sometimes they are calm, but they always pass. To master emotions, you must first understand them. Why do you feel the way you do? What is causing that emotion? Is it rooted in truth or in perception? This self-awareness is critical. It allows you to detach from knee-jerk reactions and instead make intentional choices about how to proceed. The person who can act without being shaken by every emotion is the one who has developed the wisdom to see beyond the surface level of their feelings and understand the deeper truths of the situation. In the end, true strength is found in your ability to be steadfast, not in being unmoved by your emotions, but in being able to choose your response. The person who can remain calm in the face of chaos is not someone who has no emotions. They are someone who has learned to master them. Your identity must be rooted in truth, not in opinions or circumstances. In a world where people are constantly influenced by what others think or say, it's easy to let external factors determine how you see yourself. Whether it's the approval of others, societal standards, or the opinions of people close to you, there's a tendency to tie your sense of worth to things that are outside your control. But if you base your identity on these shifting things, you're setting yourself up for a life of instability and confusion. True strength comes when you find your identity in something solid, something unchanging, the truth of who you are, not what others think of you. If you constantly seek validation from others, you will always be at the mercy of their opinions. The moment someone criticizes you, praises you, or ignores you, you can feel like your world is collapsing or being built up based on their words. This is dangerous. Your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. Your worth is rooted in something much deeper. You are more than what others think of you. You are more than what you do or what you have. If your identity is tied to the approval of others, you are essentially a leaf being blown by the wind, moving wherever the current takes you, never steady, never grounded. The truth of who you are comes from within. It comes from understanding that you have inherent value, not because someone has decided you do, but because you are created with purpose. It's understanding that your worth isn't defined by a momentary mistake or a fleeting success. Your identity is anchored in something more profound than opinions. It's anchored in your values, your character, your purpose, and for many, a belief in something higher. When you realize this, you begin to operate from a place of security that no one can shake. When your identity is rooted in truth, it becomes much easier to navigate the complexities of life. You no longer live for the applause or fear the judgment of others. Your decisions become grounded in what you know to be true about yourself and the world, not in a reaction to what others think or say. There will always be people who will try to define you, who will try to tell you who you are or who you should be. But when your identity is firmly established in truth, these external voices no longer have the power to influence you. This does not mean you become indifferent to the opinions of others. It doesn't mean you don't care about constructive criticism or feedback. It means you no longer rely on the approval or disapproval of others to validate your worth. You stop seeking external confirmation for your internal beliefs. When you are anchored in truth, you can hear criticism and weigh it for its truth, but you do not let it define your self-worth. You know who you are, And no one can take that from you. The struggle many people face today is the constant shift in identity based on what's happening around them. If they're praised or successful, they feel confident, but when they fail or are criticized, their entire sense of self can crumble. This kind of instability comes from having a fragile identity, one that is built on something as volatile as the opinions of others. To avoid this instability, you must establish who you are based on things that are not subject to the whims of people's judgments. Your identity must be founded on truth. This truth is what allows you to stand firm in the face of trials and challenges. When life is difficult, when you experience setbacks or disappointment, you will not be shaken, because your sense of worth is not dependent on your circumstances. You are not a failure just because you fail. You are not worthless just because others criticize you. Your identity, your worth, and your purpose go beyond these things. Furthermore, when your identity is rooted in truth, you are empowered to live a life of authenticity. You no longer feel the need to pretend or conform to fit into a mold created by others. You can be your true self regardless of what others think or expect. This is a liberating feeling. No longer do you live in the shadow of others' perceptions. Instead, you live boldly, knowing who you are and why you are here. This foundation of truth doesn't just protect you from the opinions of others, it also gives you the courage to face life's toughest moments. When you know who you are not afraid to take risks, make mistakes, and grow. You can handle criticism and failure with grace, knowing they do not define you. You can handle success with humility because you understand it doesn't make you any more valuable than you were before. Ultimately, when you find your identity in truth, you become a person who is not easily swayed. You are anchored in something that doesn't change with the wind. This solid foundation allows you to withstand the storms of life, the opinions of others, and even your own doubts. You become a person who lives with conviction, not because you are unaffected by the world, but because you know who you are and whose you are. Peace is a choice that is forged through daily discipline and inner stillness. We often think of peace as something that just comes when everything around us is calm, when life is going smoothly, and when there are no disruptions. But the truth is, peace is not a passive experience, it is an active choice. It is something you cultivate, something you train for, something you decide to pursue even when the world is chaotic, when people are difficult, and when life throws you curveballs. Peace doesn't come by waiting for external circumstances to align perfectly. It comes from deciding, day by day, that no matter what happens, you will not allow the noise, the conflict, or the distractions to disturb the stillness of your heart. In our fast-paced world, we are constantly bombarded with noise. We live in an age where distractions are everywhere: social media, news, the constant demands of work and life, the pressure to keep up with others. The result is that peace feels like a distant dream, something that is unreachable in the midst of the noise. However, peace is not something external that you are waiting for, it is something that must be created within. It's a decision you make, a practice you develop. It's a discipline to choose to remain still, to choose to breathe deeply, to choose to focus on what truly matters. It all begins with the decision to be intentional about your inner life. The world will keep moving fast, it will keep demanding your attention, but peace doesn't depend on slowing down the external world, it depends on slowing down your internal world. If your heart and mind are constantly rushing, constantly reacting, constantly in turmoil, it will be impossible to find peace. This is why peace is a daily discipline. It's about learning how to quiet your mind and soul, learning how to navigate the chaos with clarity, and learning how to hold your ground even when everything seems out of control. This process of cultivating peace begins with self-awareness. You must first become aware of what disturbs your peace. What are the things, the people, the thoughts that steal your calm? You must learn to identify these things, not to avoid them, but to understand them and develop the ability to respond to them with composure. It's not about eliminating everything that disturbs you, it's about learning how to be unshaken by it. Life will always have its challenges, its stressors, its difficult people, but you can choose how you respond. You can decide not to let the storm inside you match the storm outside. The key to maintaining peace in the midst of chaos is inner stillness. This doesn't mean being passive or indifferent to what's going on around you. It means being in control of your inner world, no matter the chaos around you. Inner stillness comes when you are anchored in a deeper truth, when you have clarity about who you are and what you believe, when your thoughts are aligned with your values and purpose. It is the calm in the center of the storm, the strength to remain grounded even when the winds of life are howling around you. You cannot manufacture peace by controlling your environment. You can only achieve it by mastering your inner world. The more you practice this discipline of peace, the easier it becomes to hold on to it. When you wake up in the morning, make the decision to start the day with peace. Don't allow the distractions, the worries, or the pressures of the day to take hold of you before you even begin. Take a moment of stillness. Center your mind. Breathe deeply. Set your intentions for the day. When you do this consistently, it becomes easier to carry that peace with you throughout the day, no matter what happens. But this isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily practice, an ongoing choice to maintain peace in your life. Every day you must choose to stay anchored. This doesn't mean you won't experience difficult moments where you feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or uncertain. It means that you have the tools, the discipline, and the mindset to navigate those moments with grace. Instead of reacting in anger, stress, or fear, you respond with clarity, patience, and composure. When your inner world is disciplined, you find that external circumstances no longer have the power to control your peace. People can say what they want, events can unfold as they will, but you are anchored. You are still. You are not easily moved. Peace becomes a part of who you are, a natural state of being that you carry with you no matter where you go. This is not an accident, nor is it the result of a perfect life. It is the result of a consistent, daily commitment to choose peace, to choose stillness, to choose control over your emotions, thoughts, and reactions. It's important to recognize that this peace is not about avoiding or suppressing difficult emotions. It's not about pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging those emotions, feeling them, but not allowing them to dictate your actions or disturb your calm. Life is full of challenges, and part of being at peace is knowing that challenges will come. It's about realizing that you don't have to panic, you don't have to lash out, you don't have to react impulsively. You can sit with your emotions, understand them, and then choose how to respond from a place of peace and clarity. This is the kind of peace that is unshaken by the world. It's the kind of peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you have the strength and the discipline to remain steady, calm, and unmovable. And while the world will keep pushing, pulling, and demanding from you, you will always have the ability to stand firm, anchored in peace. Too often we look for peace in external circumstances, in the hopes that everything will fall into place and life will calm down. But real peace doesn't come from waiting for life to be perfect. It comes from within. It comes from the consistent practice of discipline, stillness, and self-awareness. Peace is something that you can have right now, no matter what's going on around you, if you make the choice to cultivate it in your life every single day. You are responsible for your reactions, no matter what happens around you. It is easy to fall into the trap of blaming others or external circumstances for our emotional states or reactions. When life doesn't go as planned, when someone hurts us, when things go wrong, it feels almost natural to place the blame on someone or something else. However, the truth is that no one can make you react in a way you don't choose. Your response, your emotional state, and your behavior are ultimately your responsibility. The moment you relinquish responsibility for your reactions, you give away your power. You make yourself a victim of external circumstances, and that is the most dangerous position to be in. In every situation, you have a choice. It doesn't matter if the situation is difficult, painful, or uncomfortable. You have the power to choose how you respond. If you decide to blame others, if you allow yourself to react out of anger or frustration, you are allowing that person or circumstance to control your emotional state. But if you take responsibility for your reactions, you recognize that your response is a direct reflection of your own choices, not the actions of others. This is empowering. It means you have the ability to change how you respond to anything, no matter what the situation. When you take responsibility for your reactions, you stop being at the mercy of your emotions. You stop allowing your feelings to dictate your behavior. Instead of reacting impulsively or defensively, you learn to pause, assess the situation, and choose your response thoughtfully. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is okay when it's not. It means recognizing that you are in control of how you express your emotions and how you act, regardless of what is happening around you. This level of responsibility is what builds emotional maturity. It's easy to blame others or life for your problems, but it takes true strength and wisdom to recognize that you have the ability to control your reactions. By taking full responsibility for your emotions and responses, you regain the power to create the life you want. You stop allowing your circumstances to dictate your state of mind and instead begin to shape your reality with intentional, thoughtful responses. One of the most powerful ways to take responsibility for your reactions is to practice self-awareness. When you're aware of your emotions and your triggers, you can catch yourself before reacting impulsively. You become more attuned to what is happening inside you, and you can choose to respond from a place of clarity and composure rather than from raw emotion. This self-awareness allows you to shift your mindset in the moment and make decisions that are aligned with your values, rather than being dictated by momentary emotions. When you practice self-awareness, you begin to see that your reactions are often based on past experiences or internal narratives that may not even be true. For example, if you feel anger or frustration in a situation, it's often not just about the present moment, but also about past wounds or unmet expectations. By becoming aware of these patterns, you gain the ability to separate the present situation from the emotional baggage of the past. This helps you respond more clearly and effectively, without carrying unnecessary emotional weight into your decisions. Moreover, when you take responsibility for your reactions, you become less reactive and more proactive. Instead of waiting for the world to change or for others to act differently, you realize that you are the one who holds the key to your peace and well-being. You stop waiting for permission to be happy, calm, or at peace. Instead, you take charge of your emotional state and refuse to let the actions or words of others dictate how you feel. Another crucial aspect of taking responsibility for your reactions is embracing the idea of accountability. Accountability is the acknowledgement that your actions have consequences and that you are fully responsible for the impact of your behavior on others. When you take accountability for your reactions, you stop making excuses for your behavior and start owning it. If you react in a way that hurts someone else, you take responsibility for that reaction without shifting the blame or justifying it. This doesn't mean you will always get it right or that you'll never make mistakes, but it means that you are committed to owning your actions and learning from them. Accountability also means being willing to admit when you've reacted poorly or when you could have handled the situation better. It's easy to justify our reactions, especially when we feel justified in our anger or frustration. But true emotional maturity comes when we can recognize that our reactions, no matter how justified they may seem in the moment, may still have negative consequences for ourselves and others. Taking responsibility means being willing to face those consequences and make changes in the future. When you begin to take full responsibility for your reactions, you create a profound sense of peace and power in your life. No longer do you have to feel like a victim of circumstance, tossed around by the actions of others or the unpredictability of life. You realize that your emotional state is not determined by external events but by your internal responses. This realization gives you the power to stay grounded in any situation, to choose your actions with wisdom, and to approach life with a sense of purpose and peace that cannot be shaken by the world around you. The true power of taking responsibility for your reactions is that it gives you the freedom to live authentically. You no longer have to play the role of the victim or the person who is constantly at the mercy of life's circumstances. You stand as a person who is in charge of how you respond, who is accountable for your actions, and who chooses peace over chaos. This kind of power is liberating. It enables you to navigate life's challenges with resilience, grace, and strength, knowing that no matter what happens around you, you are the one who gets to decide how to react. And in that decision, you hold the keys to your own peace and growth. Self-control is not arrogance, it is wisdom and strength under restraint. There is often a misconception that self-control means suppressing your desires, denying your impulses, or acting as though you don't have emotions or needs. This couldn't be further from the truth. True self-control is not about pretending to be perfect or showing off an image of strength that ignores your humanity. It is, in fact, the ability to hold your emotions, desires, and reactions in check, not out of weakness but out of wisdom and strength. This ability to exercise restraint shows an immense amount of inner strength because it demonstrates that you are not ruled by the forces of your immediate desires, but by a higher purpose and understanding of who you are. In today's world, we live in a culture that often values instant gratification, emotional outbursts, and following every urge and desire that comes our way. We are told that we should express every feeling, seek immediate satisfaction, and pursue every desire without thinking of the consequences. While this may feel freeing in the moment, it often leads to a life of regret, instability, and emotional turmoil. Self-control, on the other hand, teaches you to pause before acting. It encourages you to take a step back, evaluate the situation, and decide how best to act rather than simply reacting impulsively. This kind of self-restraint is not a denial of your humanity, it is the ability to choose what is best for you, not just in the moment but in the long term. This ability to control yourself, particularly when it's most difficult, is where true strength lies. Think about the situations where you might feel the strongest urge to act impulsively: when someone insults you, when you're hurt, when you're frustrated, or when life seems overwhelming. In these moments, the urge to react emotionally can be overwhelming. But the person who demonstrates true strength is the one who can pause, take a deep breath, and choose how to respond in a way that reflects their values and not their emotions. The ability to act with restraint in these moments, to choose peace over anger, patience over frustration, and clarity over impulsivity, is a mark of real inner power. The strength of self-control is most visible in the way it keeps you grounded no matter what external circumstances may be. This is not to say that self-control makes you immune to feeling upset or frustrated. It means you learn not to be governed by those emotions. It means you don't let fleeting feelings dictate your behavior. For example, when life hands you a difficult situation, you may feel overwhelmed or discouraged, but self-control allows you to take that moment, sit with it, and find a constructive way to move forward. This is strength in action, the ability to stay composed, to make rational decisions, and to maintain integrity even when things don't go your way. Furthermore, self-control allows you to operate from a place of wisdom. Often, when we act without thinking, when we speak too quickly, or when we react to a situation without considering the consequences, we make decisions we regret later. When we lack self-control, we let our emotions and immediate desires dictate our actions, which often leads to decisions that don't align with our long-term goals or values. On the other hand, the person who exercises self-control is able to step back, think through their choices, and make decisions that reflect their deeper values and priorities. This kind of thoughtful action prevents mistakes, reduces regret, and leads to more consistent, positive outcomes in life. Self-control also enables you to develop deeper relationships and maintain harmony in your interactions with others. In relationships, whether personal or professional, it's easy to let our impulses get the best of us. It's easy to say something hurtful when we're angry or act rashly when we feel misunderstood. But when you have control over your reactions, you are able to communicate more effectively, be more empathetic, and avoid unnecessary conflict. Self-control allows you to listen more than you speak, to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively, and to show kindness and understanding even when it's difficult. It builds stronger, more respectful relationships because you are not quick to anger, to judge, or to act based on emotion. Instead, you are acting with purpose, intention, and clarity. This form of self-discipline also carries over into how we handle our daily lives, especially with regard to our habits and goals. Many of us are aware of the behaviors or patterns in our lives that are not serving us well, whether it's procrastination, unhealthy eating habits, or giving in to distractions. The ability to change these habits requires self-control. It means resisting the temptation to give in to short-term comforts for long-term gain. The person with self-control is able to delay gratification and make sacrifices in the present to invest in their future. They may wake up early to exercise, work diligently on a project instead of wasting time, or save money instead of spending it impulsively. These actions may not always feel easy in the moment, but the benefits of practicing self-control become evident over time.